You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, the Kansas Supreme Court chastises the Kansas Solicitor General during a hearing on gerrymandering.
Overnight thunderstorm activity leading us to some flood advisories and also some power outages. Now the warm-up begins. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And one city thinks it's got a cool way to beat pavement heat during the summer. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Authorities in Coffeyville, Kansas investigate a homicide after a man is shot. On Monday, authorities responded to a tip about a body inside a Coffeyville home. When police arrived, they found the body of 47-year-old Melvin Simpson Jr. of Coffeyville with a gunshot wound. They also arrested a man who was leaving the home as they arrived. That man has not yet been charged in this case. A Grove, Oklahoma woman is dead after a crash in Delaware County. Authorities say 68-year-old Donna Hill was driving west on County Road East 260, about 3.5 miles north of Grove. Troopers say she attempted to turn south on State Highway 10 and was hit by a pickup. Hill was then taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. The driver of the pickup was taken to the hospital in good condition. On Tuesday, a federal judge sentenced a man for shooting at officers during a chase in Jasper County. In October of 2020, officers in Carthage tried to pull over Raul Gonzalez Reyes of Stott City. The license on his truck was registered to a different vehicle, and authorities say he sped off and shot at officers who were chasing him. Court documents say he also shot at officers earlier that same day, but got away. The chase ended when he crashed his vehicle. Reyes is sentenced to 24 years in prison. And authorities in Joplin released the name of a shooting victim killed on Monday. Police say that victim is 46-year-old Kenneth Matthews of Joplin. An autopsy for Matthews is scheduled for Friday. Authorities are not yet releasing the name of a second victim who was shot. That victim remains in critical condition. Shooting happened just after 6 Monday near the intersection of 5th and Connor. Police say the suspect drove off after the shooting in a dark-colored vehicle. Top Kansas government attorney argues congressional redistricting is naturally political, and the Kansas Supreme Court should not try to decide when partisanship goes too far. Justice Dan Biles chastised Kansas Solicitor General Brant Lau for making the comment, saying it was equivalent to saying boys will be boys. State Supreme Court heard arguments in the state's appeal of a lower court ruling striking down a Republican congressional redistricting law, although it is unclear when they will give their ruling. The Lamar, Missouri Police Department is warning residents about an increased number of thefts and burglaries in the city. They provided tips so you can protect yourself. First, make sure all doors and windows are locked, even if you're home. Also, make sure your home looks occupied, even when it is not, by leaving a porch light on or a TV on. And if you make an expensive purchase, break down the box and keep it out of view so it's not on display. Fort Scott School District on Tuesday announced its new superintendent, Destry Brown. Brown is currently serving as superintendent of schools in Clinton, Missouri, but he's no stranger to Southeast Kansas. He's a Fort Scott native, and he used to be the superintendent of schools in Pittsburgh and Frontenac. Brown will officially take over as the Fort Scott superintendent July 1st. A local nonprofit collected a valuable and necessary resource, blood. Community Blood Center hosted a blood drive at Rocketdyne Road Church of Christ in Neosho. Blood Center is based out of Springfield and supplies blood to more than 40 hospitals in the 4 states.
We come out in the public because we can't get them to come to the come to the centers because they work, life happens. So if we can make it as convenient for them, then they're more likely to come.
Officials say every donation could save up to 3 lives. It's a 90s throwback that you can knock back for a caffeine kick. Coffee roaster Beanbox partnered with the popular 90s show Seinfeld to create 4 curated artisan blends they say embody the show's characters. There's a medium roast called Elaine's Little Kicks, a dark roast called George's Serenity Now, and an Ethiopian blend called Kramer's Giddy Up. Ooh. Hate to try that one. And of course, there's the show's namesake coffee, a Brazilian blend called Jerry's Diner Blend. Seinfeld coffee collection is available for a limited time on Beanbox's website in varying sizes. Is the Kramer one going to make you all jittery like Kramer?
No, I rolled my eyes when you started that, but then I give them credit for the names that they came up with, because you get the Kick and you've got Serenity Now. I would rather have Frank Costanza have Serenity Now, and then you giddy up.
Giddy up.
I feel like I got rubber-soled shoes, so I can't slide in.
Open the door, slide in. Oh, it's perfect.
Just tremendous. Perfect. All right, Tanya, the Skywatch storm tracker. We're pretty much done with our rain. Yeah, I know you'll see a sprinkle or two still popping up, but the thunderstorm activity definitely a thing of the past after the wicked winds overnight. Now we wait for the cloud cover to break because the satellite coverage will show you that it is overcast morning. But I tell you what, it was rather impressive as far as what we picked up. Great news, we've dropped our flood advisories. We'll come back and talk about that in a second, but this rain that we picked up in the last 12 hours alone, 2.5 to 3 inches for our far northern counties. Joplin Regional Airport, 3/4 of an inch. Speaking of Joplin Regional Airport, that's where it's 64 degrees right now. That humidity is going to play a role today. It's going to be a little bit humid here later on, as we'll work up into the high 80s to the south, mid 80s for the north, and tack on 4 to 5 degrees as far as the temperature and what it's going to feel like. Coming up in a bit, we got to break down tomorrow. We'll have some sporadic rain coming at us for Thursday, but certainly nothing like what we had overnight.
All right, sounds good. Up next, Sherry Nelson from the K-State Extension Office stops by studio to talk favorite food shows and 4-H camps. And later, a new study says mRNA vaccines work better against more concerning variants of COVID-19. We've got the details when we return. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch, a less invasive procedure shows strong promise for patients with a common heart condition, and how mRNA COVID vaccines are better for some variants. Naomi Ruckham has some of the day's top health stories.
mRNA vaccines, like those from Pfizer or Moderna, offer better protection against more concerning variants of COVID-19. Research out of the Netherlands found that while viral vector vaccines, like those from AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, prevent severe disease, those who received them were more vulnerable to infection by new variants. Pollution led to 9 million deaths in 2019, according to a new report published in The Lancet. That's equivalent to 1 in 6 deaths worldwide. Air pollution was the most significant concern, accounting for 75% of the deaths, followed by toxic chemical pollution. And British researchers have determined a less invasive alternative to open heart surgery is just as effective for patients with a common cardiac condition. The disease involves narrowing of the valve that blood flows through when leaving the heart. It often requires surgery to correct. But the new research shows that inserting a small tube through an artery in the groin, arm, or chest is a safe and effective alternative to an open heart procedure. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And it's a thumbs up from the FDA on a booster shot for kids 5 to 11 years old. The FDA gave Pfizer emergency use authorization Tuesday for its booster for kids in that age group, saying they can get their third shot at least 5 months after their 2 primary vaccines. Pfizer says the third dose raised Omicron fighting antibodies by 36 times for those kids. The matter now goes to the CDC. The CDC's Independent Advisory Committee meets on Thursday and has a vote scheduled. Biden administration wants to know how much patients are being charged for a supposedly free COVID-19 treatment. On Tuesday, White House officials said they are looking into what can be done to make the drug Evusheld more available and more affordable. It's the only drug that works to prevent COVID for many immunocompromised patients. Federal government gives Evusheld and other treatments to states for free, but some patients reported being charged enormous fees. Healthcare facilities can legally charge an administration fee for the drug, and there's no limit on that fee. The charge is waived for Medicare and Medicaid patients. I've heard of a ghost runner, but this is ridiculous. The Atlanta Braves baseball team woke up to quite the surprise at their downtown Milwaukee hotel on Tuesday. They lost power at the supposedly haunted Pfister Hotel. This hotel is 129 years old. Bryce Harper, Michael Young, and Pablo Sandoval are among the ball players who have claimed ghost encounters there. The extended power outage at the hotel also left some rooms without running water, leaving some of the players unable to shower. Not cool.
There are a number of, there's also one in Oklahoma City that athletes refuse to stay at because it's haunted. And you have to remember, these buildings are more than a century old. So yeah, the pipes are going to creak and like some things are going to happen. But what happened to the Braves yesterday, that was a tad bit bizarre.
No power, no water.
Yeah, but also too, you take a road trip to somebody else's town, you got to deal with that. That's part of it. They're also, it's gotten to the point now where since teams know that they're going to go to haunted places, that sometimes you have teammates pulling pranks on each other.
I can see that happening.
Derrick Rose, who is a grown man and a former NBA MVP, there's a hotel in Oklahoma City. He refuses to room by himself. He will only room unless he has a roommate. Isn't that something else? An NBA player and MVP saying, nope, if I'm staying there, give me a room. I'm just like, why don't you just tell the team you're getting another hotel, you know?
Right?
Hey, run down to Motel 6, you'll be fine. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker with our heavy cloud cover, but we do have some good news, and that's the fact that our flood advisories, those have been lifted for Bates, we have Miami and Henry counties up to the north. So those are now a thing of the past. The rain that was scattered through southwest Missouri, it is just about gone. And so now we talk about our storm reports that came with 60, 65 mile an hour winds overnight. Power lines down throughout the 4 states, number of power outages that slowly but surely have been restored throughout the course of our morning. It's gotten much, much better since the time that we started around 5 a.m. So yeoman's work by all our utility crews, and a big thank you from all of us as well. When we talk about our rain accumulation numbers up in the northern portion of the 4 states, we're pushing 2.5, close to 3 inches of rain right there. At 3.6 coming out of Bates County in Missouri, and you see a whole bunch of 2.1, 2.9 right there. Joplin Regional Airport clocked in at 3/4 of an inch now that it's all said and done. Get a little break in the clouds here, then we begin our warm up. Not too bad right now, up into the mid 60s for the most part. And then later on this afternoon, we're going to be able to roll, say, high 80s. So that's not going to be too bad, but it's going to be muggy as well. A little additional precip, that'll kick in for Thursday morning. As it rolls through, it is not organized, it is not severe, and it is spotty at best. That's the extent of it, so no need to worry about getting hit with what we got hit with last night. But you'll notice no reprieve from the temperatures really until we get to the weekend. Big cold front from Friday into Saturday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Sherry Nelson joins us for a Wildcat Wednesday. Miss Nelson, thank you so much. She is from the Kansas State Research and Extension Wildcat District, and she taught me about an event several years ago that I fell in love with immediately because I found out how much planning it takes that is really important for kids to think about the entire process.
Right.
It's called the Favorite Food Show. Right. And immediately when you first told me about it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Have a kid whip up their favorite meal. That's only the beginning of it.
Exactly, that's the beginning. The Favorite Food Show is designed to help kids select a menu, plan a menu that's going to be a balanced meal, select a theme of some sort. Could be a party, could be a Mother's Day or holiday or whatever, and then select one food that they're going to prepare for the plate or to show at the Favorite Food Show. So it's one of those that's it's meant to teach kids how to do some planning and for menus and things like that.
And for table settings and
settings.
things of that nature.
Absolutely.
For kids that have taken part in this, have you had the opportunity to maybe talk to their parents or family members? And is it something that they've put to good use after they've taken part in the favorite food show?
I think so. My own children did favorite food show
okay.
A lot, and they, you know, to this day now, when they set a table, they know how to properly set a table, and they do a lot of menu planning for the week to meal preps and things like that, so they can plan their menus ahead of time. And a lot of families, the kids that do it, yeah, they enjoy that planning part.
Right.
And so I've had several kids that have planned birthday parties, their own birthday parties and things like that with the menus.
And I love the way
like
that you've incorporated an essential life skill into something that's really fun. Now, before we get into the particulars, 2 years ago, we had to do this all virtually.
Yep.
Last year, it was you can come if you want, or you can do it virtually.
Right.
This year, are we all together now?
All in person, yes. It'll all be in person.
That is so excellent.
Yes.
Because there is an actual judging portion to this, and so it's not only one of those things where kids get to learn, but this is a contest.
It's a contest. It is a contest, and we have a judge that comes in, and the food, they're not actually judged on the food. They're judged on the presentation. You know, how does your table look? You know, and most of them will have a centerpiece and things like that also on the table. They're judged on their menu planning and their knowledge of the foods that they have prepared. You know, is it nutritious? Is it a well-balanced, planned menu? Is it, you know, why did you choose this food? You know.
And Sherry, I ask you from someone who organizes this. What is the importance of teaching a child from a young age that foods blend together on that menu? What are we looking for as far as consistency and continuity on that?
Well, you want a well-balanced meal, of course, kind of depending on what you're doing, but you know, you need a protein source, you need a source of, you know, vegetables and fruits and milk. You know, you want my plate, you want that a well-balanced meal. And so the menu planning, you kind of can help kids, and they can kind of figure out, you know, okay, if I select chicken, for example, you know, I want something with more color to, you know, help with the plate and things like that. So, you know, you got to think about those kind of things too. I mean, you know, if we're just fixing dinner at home, we don't always think that, you know.
Dinner at home might get a whole lot prettier after the kids take part in the favorite food show.
Exactly.
So this is coming up in June. Now that we've got the parents and maybe even a kiddo or two watching right now, going, hey, I think I want to take part in this.
Sure.
How do we get involved?
On our website, we have the favorite foods show information, or they can contact any of our offices for more information. There's a sign-up sheet that they will send in to my office that tells us, you know, yeah, I'm going to do this, kind of already have in mind what their theme is going to be and their favorite food. They'll have to send in a recipe and some pictures. If they win our district competition, they can go on to a regional competition and later in June, and in that competition they've gone to, there's no food on the plates, it's a picture to help alleviate food waste.
Oh, that makes sense.
So we haven't gone that far yet, but
you carry that, you carry those presentation skills with you, and you keep on keep on going up against.
Absolutely.
So if your child, number one, is competitive, number two, if your child perhaps needs planning skills, or maybe your child is already a great organizer and a planner, and this is right up their alley.
Yeah.
This is the favorite food show put on by the Kansas State Extension and Research Office Wildcat District. I want to ask you, deadline, and are there a certain number of spots that we need to get in on?
Actually, we have no limitations on how many kids.
Excellent.
So if we have 30 kids that want to participate, fantastic.
You are too kind to do that.
If we would like to have them entered by the Thursday before, which I believe is the 9th, because we have the contest is on June 13th. Monday the 13th in Fredonia. So.
And like I said, these are life skills that kids are walking away with.
We all have to eat.
That is true. Well, we all have to eat, but I mean, this just looks a whole lot nicer sometimes than Tanya and I were talking about disposable plates earlier this morning. This is much nicer.
Yeah.
I like this
well,
idea.
We've had kids that use the disposable plates. I mean, they're doing a picnic, so, you know.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
See, the creativity is
Life
out there as
skills,
well.
yeah.
Sherry Nelson from the Kansas State Research and Extension Office, Wildcat District on this Wildcat Wednesday. Sherry, thank you so much. And I think that's great that you accommodate as many kids as show up.
As many as want to come, we'll get them in there.
That is tremendous.
Yep.
Thank you. We'll be back with more. Oh, you can find this information on our website as
Yep.
well, and at the at K-State Extension Office. And let's get those kiddos signed up. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Petty Officer 3rd Class H. Pepper Martin. Pittsburgh, Kansas native, served in the South Pacific with the Navy and Navy Reserve. To Petty Officer 3rd Class Pepper Martin, we thank you. Today's four-state hero. We all look for ways to beat the heat during the summer, and well, it looks like one Arizona city has found a new way to do just that. It's a type of pavement that actually helps reflect heat instead of absorbing it. Colleen Sikora has more on a pilot program that's leading to some cool results.
If you could spray away some of the heat, this is one way to do it.
These streets now reflect sunlight away.
David Hundula is the heat response director for the city of Phoenix.
When we look at satellite imagery of the city, we see that the road surfaces really pop as some of the hottest surfaces in the city.
Partnering with ASU researchers, they've already found the surface temperature of this pavement is cooler, at least 10 degrees cooler, where the reflective coating's been put down. And the surface temperature is lower on the bottom of the pavement, too.
The pavement material itself experiences less strain as the summer goes along. That can help it last longer, which could mean money saving for all of us.
It's all of us feeling the hotter temps in the city than in outlying areas. That's the urban heat island effect.
It's constantly evolving.
Mate Georgescu is with ASU School of Geographical Sciences and Urban Planning. With lows in Phoenix not getting as low as before, it takes a toll.
It becomes, from an energy infrastructure, a very difficult issue because air conditioners are on constantly. And so there's a lot of societal impacts.
And with this year's dry climate,
that means that the land surface is going to heat up quite a bit faster than it normally does, and potentially lead to a quicker onset of the North American monsoon system. That's actually good news.
But it's cool news for Phoenix neighborhoods only anticipated to get hotter, now getting the coating in the coming weeks.
And we think that this particular innovative strategy can help offset some of the heat island effects associated with all that pavement.
Hoping this summer helps answer more questions.
What we need to learn is how well it works and how long it lasts. How durable is it in the real world?
In addition to installing the cool pavement, Hundula said his office is working to add more trees and other vegetation to the city to help keep temperatures down. Great idea. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Congress holds a public UFO hearing for the first time in 50 years. The question now, was the truth out there? And the Better Business Bureau warns parents to beware of baby formula scams. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Fort Scott School District on Tuesday announces its new superintendent, Destry Brown. Brown is currently serving as superintendent of schools in Clinton, Missouri, but he's no stranger to Southeast Kansas. He's a Fort Scott native, and he used to be the superintendent of schools in Pittsburgh and Frontenac. Brown will officially take over as the Fort Scott superintendent July 1st. Some local elementary school students volunteered their time on Tuesday to help those in need. Fifth grade students from Mound Valley Grade School in Mound Valley, Kansas helped clean the Ronald McDonald House in Joplin. Students also donated aluminum tabs they'd been collecting. The class's teacher stayed at the house in the past, so she knows firsthand the impact.
I just want my kids to know about the opportunities that are out there to help others, and Ronald McDonald House is just one of many ways that they can choose kindness and pay it forward and help others.
Shaw says she has been taking students to the Ronald McDonald House for over a decade. Downtown Joplin Alliance takes time to clean up the downtown area. They're doing projects like picking up trash, raking, pulling weeds, and laying down mulch. All the work is volunteer-based, and the group meets to do work in the community twice a month.
As a small businessman, I have a firm belief that if I want my community to invest in me and my business, I need to go out and invest myself into my community. It's an approach that I have. It's paid off for me personally, just with my feeling of helping out in the community.
On Tuesday, some political candidates in Southwest Missouri met with voters in Neosho. The Newton County Republican Central Committee and the Republican Women of Newton County hosted a forum for Republican candidates running for seats at the county level, U.S. House 7th District and State Auditor.
Candidates, I think, need to hear what the concerns are of the voters. And you know, it's great to hear their messages crafted on TV, for example, but that's all one-way conversation. So I like to give the candidates and the voters a chance to visit with each other one-on-one.
Forum was held at the Lampo Recreational Building in Neosho. Looks like the next big thing to go green could be our computers. Check this out. May look like a really dirty fish tank, but scientists say it's a microcomputer powered by photosynthesis. Researchers say the non-toxic blue-green algae naturally harvest energy from the sun. It's been powering this system for more than a year. You heard right. No electricity, no solar power. Scientists say the computer is only using light and water. The system is small, comparable to the size of a AA battery. Still, they say this could have potential in the future as a reliable and renewable way to power small devices. That's cool.
Yeah, next thing you know, it's going to come alive. You didn't think about that one, did you?
No.
Uh-huh.
A living organism in your computer.
Yeah, a living organism made to
makes your technology more real.
To power things. Yeah, we know where that's going to end up. By the way, UFOs coming up a little later in the show. Yes.
Yes, they're out there.
Yeah, there you go. I found them. All right, Tanya, we've got a little rain hovering over Newton County right now, just some light shower activity, certainly not the thunderstorms that we had earlier. Look at the heavy cloud cover. Still waiting on a little bit of a break, not even that little sporadic one that you see in the far northwest is going to help. But eventually, after everything does break, we're going to warm up, and we're going to warm up fast. Let's recap some storm reports that we had overnight with 60 to 65 mile-an-hour wind gusts that knocked down not only trees onto power lines, but also to early morning reports of the Missouri Department of Transportation. What up? That's not you. You're good. It was great. Tanya just caught herself on another camera and had a momentary freak out. That was good. Come on, let everybody behind the scenes. That was funny. What was not funny is the amount of people that had power out this morning, but slowly and surely, our utility crews just doing a phenomenal job of getting us back on the grid. Look at all the rain that we picked up. This is in a 12-hour span, as much as 2.5 to 3 inches of rain to our north. At Joplin Regional Airport, 3/4 of an inch. And it's not so much, I mean, the numbers are impressive when we talk about 2.5 to 3 inches, but the fact that it happened in 12 hours, pretty amazing that the National Weather Service has been able to cancel those flood advisories up through Miami and Bates County. 64 degrees right now over Joplin. Pretty mild when you walk outside, warming up already to the south. That's where we'll see high 80s today, go low to mid 80s up to the north. Humidity is going to play a factor as it's going to feel about like 90 to 92 for the afternoon hours. Peak heating in between 3 and 5 p.m. Just be careful if you're going to be outside for extended periods of time. Little thunderstorm, isolated thunderstorm activity, nothing organized and very sporadic for Thursday morning. Don't let that change any of your Thursday to Friday plans. And then that cold front comes in just in time for the weekend. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, Memorial Day and traveling. Experts say if you have not locked in your Memorial Day travel plans, probably shouldn't wait any longer because according to AAA, nearly 3 million more Americans plan to hit the road and skies compared to last year. Not only are travel numbers up, but so is the cost. Airfare and hotel expenses increasing. It will, however, cost you less if you plan to rent a car. But of course, high gas prices could easily offset saving money on that option. Like every Memorial Day, travelers and homebound alike have options for how they choose to celebrate. So asking, what are you doing for Memorial Day? Right now, 57% of you staying home, 28% do not have any plans at all. That brings us up to a grand total of 85%. So we'll split that additional 15 between 6% saying you're flying, only 9% saying a little bit scary at the gas pump right now, and driving. A highly anticipated congressional hearing taking place on UFOs. Not making that up. Lawmakers getting a chance to question Pentagon officials about what the U.S. knows when it comes to various encounters with unidentified flying objects. Caroline Shively has the details. She's in D.C.
Videos of UFOs shown at this congressional hearing Tuesday seem straight out of a science fiction movie.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing, recorded several years ago, off the coast of the United States.
But Pentagon officials told the committee the danger of unidentified aerial phenomena is very real for military aircraft and potentially national security.
Because UAPs pose potential flight safety and general security risks, we are committed to a focused effort to determine their origins.
It's rotating. An intelligence report released last year counted 144 sightings of flying objects that U.S. officials couldn't identify, including this one taken from an F-18 that shows a spherical shape zing past.
And is this one of the phenomena that we can't explain?
I do not have an explanation for what this specific object is.
Some sightings have been reported near military bases, raising the possibility they could be aircraft powered by secret technology from Russia, China, or another foreign adversary.
This is not about finding alien spacecraft, but about delivering dominant intelligence across the tactical, operational, and strategic spectrum.
After this public hearing, members entered a closed session saying some of their investigation needs to remain classified to protect national security. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Be back with more Fox 14 consumer news right after this.
As parents across the country scramble to find baby formula, the Better Business Bureau says scammers are looking to take advantage. The key red flags to be aware of before you click buy or purchase products from strangers on social media.
As parents scramble to find baby formula, the Better Business Bureau is issuing a warning about potential scams targeting desperate caregivers amid a worsening shortage.
There's a lot of new moms out there that are very nervous and very upset because they can't find it in the store. So the next natural thing to do is to go online and look for it.
The BBB has some red flags consumers should be aware of as they look for those out-of-stock products online. Number 1, only positive reviews. If you don't see any negative or critical reviews on the website you're looking to buy from, it could mean it was created by scammers. Number 2, misspellings and grammatical errors. And number 3, lack of communication if the seller advertises on social media and stops responding after the payment clears.
But not everybody is completely honest when they're online or they're advertising that they have that product online.
The BBB says keep these 3 tips in mind before you buy. Number 1, do your research. A quick online search with the company name and the word scam should pull up any complaints. Number 2, be cautious before clicking online ads, email links, and posts on social media groups.
Maybe ask other moms or other friends saying, hey, you know, I'm part of this group. Have you ordered formula from them? Have you gotten your order? Did you by any chance have any issues or concerns?
Number 3, use a credit card. The BBB says you'll have more protection against fraud compared to other payment methods.
Netflix is laying off staff. According to a report by Variety, the streaming company is laying off 150 of its U.S. employees and several contractors. Netflix says this decision comes as a result of the business economic hardships rather than workers' performance. Another report by Variety says Netflix is also using subscribers to screen some TV shows and movies ahead of their release. Wendy's and McDonald's are being sued over their burger sizes. The class action lawsuit comes after a similar lawsuit made against Burger King was filed on behalf of the same person, Justin Kiminiti from New York. The lawsuit says Wendy's overstates sizes for several of its burgers, like their Big Bacon Cheddar Cheeseburger and many others, while McDonald's exaggerates the sizes of its beef patties for almost all items on the menu. Plaintiffs are looking for monetary damages. I think when we all order those burgers, we know. You just know. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
This week marks 4 years since 10 people were shot and killed at Santa Fe High School in Texas. And one of those victims, Kimberly Vaughn, will soon have an entire room at an animal shelter dedicated to her memory. Natalie He spoke exclusively with her mother and has more on the story.
Well, this project has been in the works for 2.5 years, delayed and set back by COVID. But now Kim's room is about to make its grand debut, and her mother tells us she couldn't be happier with the turnout.
I love this. This makes me so happy.
Step inside Bayou Animal Services in Dickinson and feel the magic of its new facility. Sitting front and center is Kim's Cat Haven, named after Kimberly Vaughn, one of the 10 people shot and killed at Santa Fe High School in May 2018. Kimberly, a then freshman, would have turned 19 this year.
She told me when she got older she didn't want to have kids. She wanted to have 17 cats. Harry Potter was also one of her favorite stories, and we were lucky enough in 2018 in April to go to the Wizarding World, and that was like the best family trip ever.
Her mother, Rhonda Hart, has poured her heart and soul into creating this special and detailed dedication for Kim, combining her love for Harry Potter and cats all into one. Not to mention helping vulnerable animals find a safe home.
We've got little Dobby, who has been here the longest. He's one of our longest term residents at the shelter. And then Ronald Weasley is our young, active, cute boy. See, I'm not shy.
Kim's Cat Haven will specifically serve as the room for cats with feline AIDS, also known as FIV.
They also have a little bit shorter lifespan, and so it really matches with Kimberly. It seems like 4 years has just like flown by. But at the same time, it feels like it's gone really slow.
I don't think you move past it. You know, you always remember it, and every time there's another threat or anything like that, it's terrifying.
As the community prepares to enter the 4-year mark this week, the tears and the emotions of the tragic day may get easier to swallow, but never quite disappear.
I think that we're really at the same spot because the shooter still remains in long-term mental health care treatment. I've kind of made my peace with it, that we probably won't ever see the inside of a courtroom. You eventually get used to it, but it never goes away.
In honor of Kimberly, the shelter will be offering a special pay what you can for all cat adoption fees. It's happening all throughout the month of May.
Sounds like a very fitting tribute to Kimberly and her love of the felines there. Future track for today, we're about to begin our warm-up into the mid to high 80s. You'll notice it gets a little bit warmer down to the south than it does to the north. Delightful overnight. Then as we get into Thursday morning, a little sporadic rain moves in west to east, very scattered, and certainly nothing like what we saw overnight. Pushes out there by early afternoon hours. Don't let that change any of your plans because it's going to be in and out and hope to shout. Temperature is going to ride the mid 80s, high 80s for today and tomorrow. Friday night, we got a cold front that works in, going to bring us thunderstorms and drop us some 20 degrees as we head into the weekend. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. President Biden says the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York was an act of domestic terrorism. President and First Lady visited the crime scene yesterday to pay their respects to the victims. Buffalo's mayor says the first funerals could begin this weekend. The FDA authorizes COVID-19 booster shots for children between 5 and 11 years old. It's the first time the agency has approved an extra dose for that age group. Final decision will be made by the CDC. Its Vaccine Advisory Committee will meet Thursday to discuss the issue. In Pennsylvania, State Senator Doug Mastriano will be the Republican nominee for governor. Mastriano won Tuesday's primary after getting the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. His opponent in November will be Democrat Josh Shapiro, who's currently the state attorney general.
Going to push up into the mid to high 80s later on today. Remember, feeling about like 90 to 92. We'll repeat that for Thursday as well. Friday, we begin to back off our temperatures a little bit, but of course the big change will be Friday night into Saturday morning, bringing us that huge cold front. It's been a while since we've seen a cold front like this that'll drop us some 20 to 25 degrees from Friday into Saturday.
Researchers in Peru say they've found a fossil of a crocodile that's roughly 7 million years old. Pieces of the prehistoric fossil were found in Peru's Sakako Desert. Scientists say the bones are from the species Sakakosuchus cordovi, which would have measured a little over 3 feet long. The discovery is giving paleontologists new clues into how modern crocodiles first came to the land from the sea. The Sakako Desert has been the site of other prehistoric animal discoveries. Scientists believe the desert was once a seabed that was home to whales, giant sharks, and crocodiles.
So we essentially hit everything from UFOs to dinosaurs.
Yeah.
With an algae-fed computer in between. Not a bad day. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.